Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a live recording of a 50-minute full body flow. So find some space to move and let's get started. Let's see. We're gonna get started. I'm not gonna use any prompts today, but I think that we will also start in child's pose, if that's okay. So bring your knees out nice and wide. You can sit back on your heels. We can start to lean forwards, melt it down whenever you're ready to do so. And you might just press into the hands a little bit, and you might even just sway a little bit side to side too. Feel your hips. Maybe even notice your shoulders. But then you can melt it all the way down. And be still if you'd like. But let's take a slower, deeper breath in and out. And do that again, just a slow and smooth inhale. And let it go. Do that one more time. Just to fill up with as much air as you can. And let it all go. And just taking these next few moments to let go of your day so far. Maybe notice your belly, your chest, maybe your whole kind of body is moving a little bit with each breath that you take. And you might just relax your forehead and your jaw a little bit more. And scan your body all the way from your fingertips to your toes. Stay for another breath or two. And then you might continue to be leaning forwards. You might stay in child's pose just a little bit longer as well, or you could start to lift and try to sit back on the heels. Walk the hands closer. You can keep your knees wide. You can keep the hands on the ground. You can sit all the way back. You might even lean back. You might even float your knees for a moment, keeping them wide if they're wide. Feel the tops of the feet, your ankles, and then just start to bring the knees back down. Lean forwards again and bring your hands to the ground too, if you did lift them up. We're going to meet in tabletop. So you can come onto your hands, onto your knees. Maybe give your hips a little bit of a sway, side to side. And then we're going to tuck our right toes under. We're going to send our left leg back. So all of our toes are tucked under. We're just on our right knee. And our left leg is extended back behind us. And then from here, we could try to take a very little hover of that right knee. A little squeeze of the belly, a press into the hands, maybe a nice stretch for the toes. And then bring your right knee down, slide your left one in, but tuck those toes under of that left foot. Send your right leg back, tuck those toes too. And then maybe take a little hover of that left knee. Press into the ground, just a very small little hover, and then bring that knee back down and slide the right one in as well. Back to your tabletop if you need to replace your hands or just come off of them for a moment. Make sure all of your toes are tucked under though from your tabletop, and then take an inhale. And as you exhale, lift up and into downward facing dog. And you might pedal your feet a few times. Slow, deep breath in and out. Maybe gazing towards your toe. Maybe your eyes are closed. Press into your hands just a little bit more. Slow, deep breath in, slow, deep breath out. And then using an inhale, let's look forwards. And exhale, you can walk all the way up to the top of your mat. And once you get there, inhale into a half lift. As you exhale, fold and pause in your forward fold. Your arms can dangle, or you could hold your elbows. Maybe add a little bit of a sway if you'd like. Just allow your shoulders to try to find your ears. Allow your chest to be really heavy. How do the back of your legs feel today? Let's stay for another breath. If you have your elbows, you could release your hands back down towards the ground. And then we're going to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Come all the way up to standing. Maybe let your arms dangle the whole way up. Or find your way up to standing, however works for you. Just take your time. And once you're standing tall, roll your shoulders back and down. Turn your palms to face forwards and spread your fingers nice and wide. And then take an inhale and reach up. Exhale to fold forwards. Take an inhale to lift halfway up. And exhale, folding forwards. Inhale all the way up to standing. Reach up. And exhale, lower your arms down. Add a shoulder roll if you'd like. Spread your fingers and try to turn those palms to face forwards a little bit more. And then inhale to reach up. And exhale to fold. Inhale into your half lift. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach up. Exhale, lower your arms down, shoulder roll, and trying to spread the fingers wide and trying to turn those palms forwards. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold down. Take an inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach up. And exhale, lower your arms to your sides again. So shoulder roll, spread your fingers wide, turn your palms to face forwards again. And then we're going to try to lift the hands up. And those palms are going to try to stay facing either forwards or up. So maybe the pinkies lightly can touch one another. Maybe there's some space between your hands. Palms facing up. Fingers spreading wide. Okay, that's it for now. Let your arms fall back down towards your sides. Maybe take another shoulder roll, palms forwards, and then inhale, reach up. As you exhale, fold forwards. Take an inhale to lift halfway. As you exhale, fold, plant your hands, take your feet back into downward facing dog. Just for a nice big inhale. And then as you exhale, we're going to bring our knees down to the ground, down to table top. Okay, we're going to tuck all the toes, but we're going to send the left leg back again. So you can hover the right knee if you want to, just a little, or you could go really, really high, downward facing dog with staggered feet. Push into your hands. If you did go pretty high with that right knee, it's still bent. Still bent. And then you're going to try to come back down slowly from where we started. So maybe you come back to that right knee, just a little micro hover. Take a breath and then lower your knee down and bring the left one back into. Send your right leg back. Tuck those toes and maybe start with your little micro hover of the left knee. And then maybe you go a little higher, but keep that left knee bent. Push into your hands. And if you did lift that knee nice and high, slowly bring it down, maybe to your micro hover. Squeeze your belly in. How close can you have your knee to the ground, but it's still hovering? Then drop your knee back down, slide your right one into. So you can either come to standing on your knees, sit back on the heels if you want to, but maybe some wrist circles feel nice right now. Our arms are going to be at our sides though, whether you're sitting on your heels or standing on the knees. Hands to your sides, arms to your sides, palms facing forwards, fingers spreading nice and wide. And then you're just going to lift the hands up. Maybe the pinkies lightly touch one another, but just feel that rotation of the shoulders as the palms face up and the fingers spread wide. Nice work, you guys. Let your arms fall back down to your sides. Maybe take a shoulder roll and then bring your hands to the ground. Set up your tabletop, tuck the toes, lift your knees. Push into your hands and maybe a quick pedal of your feet. And then let's use an inhale to look forwards. As you exhale, walk all the way to the top of your mat. Take an inhale for a half lift once you get there. And exhale to fold forwards. Inhale, we're going to come all the way up to standing. Reach up. Exhale, lower your arms down. Awesome, you guys. We're going to step our feet out a little bit wider. But we're going to bend our knees or turn our toes out, bend our knees a little bit if you want to. The legs can straighten at any time. Nice wide squat though. Toes pointing out, bend your knees as much as you'd like. And let's try to stack our chest over top of our hips. So resist tipping forwards. Try to level things out. Our hands, our arms. You could have your hands on your hips or palms facing forwards. And lifting those hands up and maybe the pinkies lightly touch. Feel that shoulder rotation as you spread the fingers wide and you just try to take the bend out of the elbows and make your palms as flat as they can be and just a little bit of effort there. Nice work, you guys. Take another breath, the arms forwards if they're there. And then you can relax your arms to your sides. We can straighten the legs just for a second. And then you can come back into your nice wide squat. So our left hand is going to stay on our hip and then our right arm is going to reach out and up, but we're not moving our upper body, just the arm. And maybe where's your palm facing? Maybe it can face the left side, fingers spreading wide. And then maybe you can make that a full circle as you cross your arm in front of you and down, and then bring your hand to your hip. Now take the right hand, leave it on the hip, and the left arm can start to reach out and up, and maybe your palm can turn to face the right side, fingers spreading wide, and you can continue to make your circle. Drop the arm in front and bring it all the way back to your hip, and then straighten your legs. One more time here. Bend your knees if you'd like. Palms coming forwards in front, palms up. Maybe pinkies finding one another, maybe not. You take the bend out of your elbows a little bit more. Point your thumbs out to the sides. And then release your arms, straighten your legs, and you can step everything back together. Give your legs even a little shake if you want to, but roll your shoulders back. Take an inhale to reach up and exhale as you fold forwards. Inhale to lift halfway up. As you exhale, fold. Plant your hands and take your feet back and into downward facing dog. Push into your hands, maybe pedal your feet. Slow deep breath in and slow deep breath out. Let's stay for an inhale. As you exhale, our knees are gonna come down to our tabletop again. So from your tabletop, tucking all the toes, and our left leg can come back. You can keep it straight behind you. You can bring it to the right side. We're going to keep that knee lifted. You can take your micro hover of your right knee. You could keep lifting the right knee. So maybe the legs are crossed this time. Push into the hands. If you did lift the right knee more and more, bring it back down to your micro hover. And then lower the knee and slide the left leg all the way back in. So tuck all the toes again, and then your right leg can go back behind you. Stay there, maybe to the left side, maybe your micro hover of your left knee, maybe a big hover of your left knee, but still keep that knee bent a bit. And then come back down. Bring that left knee closer to the ground again. And then drop it down and bring your right leg back behind you, back to your tabletop where you could lift your hands up again. Take a couple wrist circles if you want to. Maybe even a little bit of a shake through the hands, okay? You can either sit on your heels again like before or stand on the knees. Palms facing forwards and then lifting up in front of us. Maybe pinkies touching. Maybe you will lean back until the quads turn on. And relax your shoulders a little bit. Even though you're trying to keep spreading the fingers wide and taking the bend out of the elbows, you're just going to tip back forwards. Release your arms to your sides, hands to the ground. Set your tabletop up. Maybe give your hips a little bit of a sway. Then you can tuck the toes and lift your knees into downward facing dog. Now let's use an inhale to gaze forwards. And as you exhale, walk up to the top of your mat. Take an inhale to lift halfway up. And exhale, folding forwards. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Reach up. And exhale, let your arms fall down to your sides. You can add a shoulder roll in. You can turn your palms forwards and inhale to reach up again. Exhale, we're folding forwards. Inhale as you lift halfway and exhale to fold. Plant your hands. We're going to take our left foot back. We're going to drop the heel down two and then lift into warrior two. So you can adjust your feet once you get up, but warrior two legs. One arm in front, one arm behind. Palms face down to start. Fingers spreading wide, trying to stack the shoulders over top of the hips. Now, can we turn our palms, both of them, to face up? How flat can you make your palms? Can you check in with where your upper body is? Can you stack your shoulders right over top of the hips? How level are your palms? Just notice, but feel that turn coming from the shoulders. Spread the fingers wide. How long are we going to be here? Just another breath. And then you can start to Turn back forwards, release your arms, bring your hands to the ground, however you want to come back down into a lunge from your warrior two, and then take an inhale to look forwards, and exhale, bring your back foot to the top. Take an inhale to lift halfway up. As you exhale, you can fold and plant your hands again, and your right foot can come back. Heel can come down, and then you can lift into your warrior two again. Other side. Adjust your feet if you need. Start to reach the arms wide. Start with the palms down two. Where's your shoulders? They might be forwards a little. Pull them back. Spread the fingers wide. Can you take the bend out of your elbows already? The palms facing down. And then can you feel the shoulders rotate as you flip the palms up? And when the elbows start to bend, can you make everything longer? And do you need to pivot a little the shoulders? How flat are your palms? Not that flat, if I'm being honest. Mine aren't. Spread the fingers wide. Put in some effort there to try to level the pinky maybe and the thumb maybe. Ish. Forgetting about your legs, but pushing into your feet. And maybe we can take another breath. And then somewhat relaxing a little and bringing your hands back down to the ground too, so that you are in your lunge. And then take an inhale to look forwards. Exhale, bring your back foot up to the top. Inhale into a half lift. As you exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, let's come all the way up to standing. Reach up, and exhale, lower your arms down to your sides. A shoulder roll if you want one though, and an inhale to reach back up. Exhale, we're folding forwards. Take an inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, plant your hands and step all the way back to downward facing dog. Send your hips as high as they can be. Take an inhale. As you exhale, our knees are coming down to tabletop. Now we can bring our knees wide and our big toes together if you'd like. You can start to send your hips back towards your heels. You can melt it down completely into child's pose. Do whatever you'd like with your arms. Perfect timing always to have the view blocked. We can also take just the left hand and we can try to turn our palm to face up. Just trying to glue the top of the hand to the ground. And then maybe we can slide it forwards and lower a little bit more. We're just trying to keep the fingers spread wide to feel that rotation through the shoulder. And if you're lucky, into your upper back. But just a little bit of effort, flipping that palm up. Now, if your right hand isn't doing much, it could actually rest on top of the left one. Just kind of hold it in place a little bit. And then maybe you can go just a touch further. And then just notice how bent are your elbows. Doesn't matter, but you might take the bend out a little bit. It's kind of like you're reaching and lengthening, but just an option. Now, if you've got your right hand on top of your left one, we could kind of roll and pivot to go to the other side. Or maybe you want to bring the right hand out on its own, spread the fingers wide on its own. But just take a second to notice how the arm, the shoulder, the upper back feels here, where maybe the right palm is facing up. Maybe the left one is on top. Maybe it's not. Awesome work, you guys. Take just another breath here. And then we can start to bring our arms back under the shoulders, towards the shoulders. We can lift back up into tabletop 2. So just scooch the knees in. Maybe give the hips a little bit of a sway as well. And then we're going to sit down so we can bring our legs in front. You can start with the knees, both of them bent. You might give your knees a little hug or squeeze. Rock side to side as always. Just notice your shoulders, your upper back, your elbows, your fingers. How is everything feeling so far? So we're going to we'll keep the left leg bent. You can lean back if you want to. We're going to find a seated figure 4. So the right leg can go long or it can stay bent, but maybe you're leaning back a little bit and flexing the left foot that's on top of the quad. And just notice your hands on the ground behind you. Maybe your fingers are pointing away from you. Just a little lean back. Maybe a gentle lift of the chest. Maybe the chin. And maybe you're flexing that left foot when that's lifted up with some effort. Maybe you start to push into the ground a little bit more and see if the hips want to get a little bit lighter as they lift. But keep flexing that left foot and then just gentle, gentle, gentle as you bring the hips maybe back to a little micro hover and then all the way to the ground. And then just stay leaning back, stretching that left leg and glutes. Take just another breath. Maybe we can uncross our legs and leave our hands on the ground behind us. Once the legs are uncrossed, though, you could lean forwards again. You could give the knees a hug. Relax your arms, maybe a wiggle of the fingers, wrist circles, elbow movements, whatever you need. And then eventually leaning back again. You can be nice and light through the hands if possible, or maybe you're leaning back a little bit more, crossing the right foot over top. Whatever feels good though on your arms here. Fingers maybe pointing back behind you though. Maybe starting to flex the right foot if you haven't done so already. Maybe a little lift of the chest. Maybe the chin. Maybe a micro hover of the hips. Flexing that right foot. Maybe you go a little higher. Keep flexing that right foot. And then you can come back down into your micro hover and maybe just hold it there for a second and then lower your hips down all the way again. Just take a second here. Awesome work, you guys. Maybe uncrossing the legs without the help of the hands, maybe using them. But once the legs are uncrossed, if you are still leaning back, you could lean forwards again, move a little bit if you'd like. So we're going to stay seated here with our knees bent, but we're going to bring our knees, our feet and our knees a little bit wider. Okay, then we're going to try to lean forwards again. So we've been here before, trying to get the elbows in between the knees. Maybe your hands are up by your shoulders. Maybe our palms can face up. But trying to lean forwards a little bit, maybe both arms, maybe just one arm. Maybe you've got to push into the fingers of one hand at a time to kind of encourage you to be forwards. And maybe your palms are facing up, both of them or one of them. You know what, I'll just do one at a time right now. So maybe your right hand, palm facing up, left hand, maybe it's pushing into the ground behind you a little bit. So you can just simply maybe try to lower your hand towards the ground, maybe on top of the leg, maybe under the leg, trying to kind of hold the calf a little bit, or maybe catch the outside of the ankle. Now, if you're doing one hand with me, we are just going to switch sides. So you can take the right hand out behind you, trying to lean forwards a little bit, left palm, maybe it's trying to face up, lightly touch the ground in front of you. Maybe it's trying to come towards the leg. It can be on top. It could be underneath. You might be able to catch kind of outside edge of the leg somewhere, the ankle somewhere. And then you're just going to let that go. You can sit however you want to sit for a moment. You can move however you want to move too. We're just going to move our feet though. So our feet are going to be coming together and our knees are going to be falling out wide. So our butterfly. Then you can either sit tall, hands behind you. You can lean forwards a little bit if you want to, should you happen to want to get a little fancy with your hands. Maybe the right hand. Left one can be behind you if it wants to be, maybe in front of you. Right hand, though, can try to slide maybe underneath the ankle, just above the ankle. Maybe you can keep leaning forwards a little bit with the help of pushing those left fingertips into the ground. Maybe your palm is facing up. Just getting a little bit snug with that right leg. Now, should your left hand now be lifted for some reason, you could bring it in front, maybe even lightly onto the knee. And you could also try to turn the chest a little bit to the left side if you want to. Then maybe you try to turn your chest to face down a little bit, maybe your left hand, and find the right one. Palms together. A little harder to switch the arms from the right to the left. So maybe you got to take your right hand out, reset, lengthen your spine. The hand, the arm situation is optional. You can stay in butterfly. Spine long, hands, arms, wherever you want them to be. Maybe in a forward fold. Maybe left hand going on a journey, sliding underneath. Maybe the ankle, shin area. Maybe it's coming out a little further, a little further. Your right hand could be behind you, pushing into the ground a little, depending on how far you're tipping forwards. Maybe it lightly can find the knee. Can you take a little peek up above you, open your chest towards the right side a little bit, and then maybe trying to lean forwards a bit more where, hey, maybe the right hand just happens to meet the left one, maybe not though. That's right, you guys, slowly find your way back, free up your arms, and also bring your knees together. Give the legs a little squeeze, a little hug, take a rock, side to side. So before we come all the way down onto our backs, I do just want to come back over onto our knees one final time. So if you can join me in tabletop. Now we're going to try, you can either stay on your knees, you can come into child's pose legs. We're going to try to bring our forearms down with our palms conveniently facing upwards. And maybe Maybe starting to spread the fingers wide a little bit. Now from here, so I'm going to be in the tabletop version. You could scoot your elbows further away, still trying to get the palms to face up. Your arms can be as close together as they want to be. You scooch the elbows forwards, or you could scooch the knees back, but you're just finding a puppy dog with perhaps your palms trying to face up. So rotating those shoulders out a little bit. Maybe looking towards your hands or letting your forehead tip down towards the ground, but be gentle with your shoulders. Breathe. You can stay for another breath here. And then lifting very, very slowly. Maybe the knees scooch forwards, the elbows scooch back, eventually finding your way onto your hands. Maybe sitting back on the heels if you want to take the weights out of the arms completely. You could add a shoulder roll in. You can stay tall. You can lean back if you want to. You can float your knees if they want to float. You might balance here for a second or two. And then we're going to lay down. So you can bring the knees down, legs out in front of you. Maybe a hug of your knees first. Take a moment, seated again, before you lay all the way down. But find your way onto your back. If you haven't already, you can leave your feet on the ground or hug your knees to your chest. Maybe a rock or a sway side to side. Just massage your back against the ground. And if you do have your feet lifted, we can bring them back to the ground. Our knees bent, our feet planted. Our arms are going to find their way to our sides. Palms facing down to start. Palms facing down to start, and your hands can stay outside of the hips. You could lift your hips a little and try to bring your hands underneath your hips. Palms facing down still. Now just notice your elbows. They might have bent a little bit, a lot. Maybe not so much, doesn't matter. But you might kind of be sitting on your hands. Palms facing down. And you can stay here if you like it or wherever you are. You can take your hands back out if you want. And then maybe our left palm will try to face up. You don't have to sit on your hands. They can stay out beside you. Or tuck one under, maybe tuck the other under. Now take your time. I think you can get there. You got to take a little lift of the chest. Even the back kind of's got to lift a little because we got kind of pull the shoulders under a little bit. So there's some height there. So our palms are able to face up. Your hands might conveniently be holding onto your glutes. Little chair. Maybe you're able to get one hand and then you're going to switch sides. Maybe you got to lift and wiggle around a little bit more. And maybe your hands aren't underneath you, they are beside you. But if you like this and you're able to relax here, we're going to stay just a little bit longer, as long as everything is happy. All the way from your fingers to your shoulders, and then down your spine to your toes. If you are on top of your hands, your arms in any sort of way, slide them out. Slide them out slowly. And maybe move your arms out wide. Make a T. Your palms can face up. You can bend your elbows as much as you want. You can let your fingers curl and relax and just give your arms a nice big break here. Notice the sensations that might be flowing through them, depending on where you just came from. We're just going to leave our arms out wide, and our knees are going to start to tip over to the left. And find our twist. Maybe you can feel your arms get a little bit heavier. Let's use an inhale to lift our legs back up. Maybe we don't need to use our arm. Maybe we do. Just lay flat for a moment. Maybe the arms stay out wide, continuing to just be heavy against the ground. And then you can let your knees tip over to the right. Find your twist. And using an inhale once again to help you lift your legs back up. You might take your arms, bring them in, or hug your knees. Maybe add a sway side to side. Just notice you still feel some flow through your arms. You can start to set up for Shavasana, whatever that is going to look like for you today. Wherever you would like to place your hands, your arms. your legs. Find a comfortable place to spend these last few moments. Close your eyes. Feel the ground beneath you. You can slowly start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Maybe take a deep breath in. Reach your arms above your head for a big stretch. Bend your knees. Roll over. Find your way up to a comfy seat when you're ready. And bring your hands together. Palms, maybe, fingers spread wide. Awesome practice, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you very soon. Namaste.